sun, sea, and a whole lot of history. Welcome to Dapitan. Nestled in the province of Zamboanga del Norte, this place isn't just about stunning beaches and scenic views. It is also where our national hero, Dr. José Rizal, spent 4 years of his life in exile. So, what's actually the deal with Dapitan? What made Rizal's time here so iconic? Well, we're about to find out. This is Episode 5 of Retracing Rizal's Tracks, Rizal in Dapitan.
Would you believe me if I told you that I'm standing on the very soil that Dr. José Rizal once lived in during his exile? Well, don't, because I'm not. That's in Dapitan, which is too far away. And also, we're too poor to afford a trip there. So we're in Taal, which looks old enough to pass off as 19th century Dapitan if you squint really hard.
Rizal arrived in Dapitan on July 17, 1892. Not by choice, obviously. He was exiled. Think of it as getting shadow banned, but in real life. Governor General Iulugo de Puhol was like, "You're too smart and too loud. Go reflect on your life." Somewhere far away, and so Rizal ended up in Dapitan under constant surveillance. Ooh, dangerous ideas. Better ship him off to the middle of nowhere. And just to make sure he didn't try any funny business, they assigned a guard to watch him 24/7. Imagine having a stalker, but it's legal. Now, get this. Rizal actually won the lottery while in exile.
Wow!
Yeah, 6,200 pesos in 1892. Back then, that was a huge amount. He didn't blow it on designer barongs or some fancy bahay na bato. No. He used it to buy land, build a school, and help his community. Responsible guy, right? 6,200 pesos in his time was a huge sum. But today, let's be real, it wouldn't even cover a trimester at LPU. Inflation's a cruel joke. Rizal could fund a whole community, but we can barely fund our education.
Speaking of community projects, Rizal basically became the mayor of Dapitan. Without even trying, he designed water system, built a school, and improved public health. He did all of this while technically under house arrest. Impressive, right? He created a water supply system that saved people from waterborne disease. He even set up street lamps using coconut oil, eco-friendly before it was trendy. No budget, no problem. Rizal made it work. Maybe we should start electing more exiled geniuses.
Oh, and did I mention? Rizal was also a scientist. He discovered new species of animals and they named them after him.
He discovered Draco Rizali, a flying dragon, Apogania Rizali, a beetle, and lastly Arocoporus Rizali, a frog. Proof that, even in exile, he could not stop being extra. This guy turned exile into a National Geographic. You would think exile would break his spirit, but no. Rizal decided to be the ultimate Sigma male. He opened the school, taught kids, and basically became the coolest Dapitan teacher ever had. He taught them math, science, and languages. Imagine getting free Spanish from José Rizal. He did not just sit around sulking, he made a life for himself, and in doing so, he planted the seeds of revolution without picking up a weapon.
Now, every hero needs a love story. That's where Josephine Bracken comes in. The Irish woman who stole Rizal's heart. They met in Dapitan when she brought her blind stepfather for an eye operation. What started as a consultation quickly turned into, well, let's just say, Rizal found a new muse for his poetry. They lived together and had a son named Francisco, who was born prematurely and unfortunately died.
Rizal was asked to join the revolution, and he said no. That twist, right? He told Pio Valenzuela that the country wasn't ready. Revolution? Now? Really? He was basically the one guy who says, we need more planning before we execute. He wanted change, but not chaos. It's like being invited to a protest and saying, nah, I'll just think about it. I'll just tweet about it. Except, he wrote novels and sparked a revolution. So yeah, kind of a big deal.
July 31, 1896. Rizal boarded the steamer España, believing he was heading to Cuba as a military doctor. The revolution he didn't join had begun, and the Spaniards needed someone to blame. Guess who? Yep, the guy who didn't even join. He left behind his students, his patients, and Josephine. I leave Dapitan with a heavy heart, he wrote, but my country calls. Little did he know, he was sailing towards his death sentence. Imagine that, a national hero falling for one of the oldest tricks in the book. Come help the Spanish army, they said. You'll be the hero, they said. I guess fake job offers existed, even back then. Accused of rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy, convicted before the trial even began. I have never been a traitor to my country, he argued, but his words fell on deaf ears. 5 accusations were thrown at him, being the head of the Katipunan, leading La Liga Filipina as a submersive group, the Valenzuela visit to Dapitan, an escape plot, and his Borneo resettlement project, all twisted to fit a narrative of betrayal. Basically, they blamed him for everything short of the weather. It's almost impressive how much power they thought one man had. On December 30, 1896, at Bagong Bayan, he faced his executioners. Refusing a blindfold, he turned to the firing squad, his final act of defiance. He fell, facing the sun, because even in death, he refused to be defeated.
And now, for the final plot twist. After Rizal's life was cut tragically short, a controversy emerged. Did he retract his anti-Catholic views just to clear the way for marrying Josephine? The Spanish friars claim yes, while his family and many scholars say no. It's a debate hotter than any modern social media scandal. The original document, gone. In mystery terms, that means it's sussed. But whether this retraction is real or a forgery concocted to undermine his legacy, it doesn't change what Rizal truly stood for us. His principle, his intellect, and his dedication to his country. Those are not something a missing piece of paper can erase. In the end, even after death attempts to rewrite his legacy are powerless. Rizal's idea live on, cancel-proof and timeless, reminding us that true heroism is measured not by conformity, but by the courage to stand by one's belief. So there you have it. Rizal spent 4 years in exile, built a community, found love, turned down a revolution, and got cancelled even without social media. But what does history teach us? It shows us that true courage isn't just about fighting on the battlefield. Sometimes it's about standing by your principles, even when the world misunderstands you. He chose education over violence, love over bitterness, and sacrifice over self-preservation. Rizal's life in Dapitan reminds us that one person can inspire change, not by force, but by example. And even in death, his ideas live on. And that is something that the Spaniards could not exile.